Studio check.
Frequencies check.
We are live on air.
You are listening to the In Fact Blessing the Airwaves. Take the journey into the world of sports, news, entertainment, while embracing the hottest beats on the planet. Rocking the mind, body, and with energy, electricity, and a splash of controversy. Now, without further ado, it's our pleasure to bring to you
the biggest show in the world.
The biggest show in the world.
The biggest show in the world. The SBTV Nation.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Happy Monday to you. This is Rob the Mad Hatter. It is the 7th of November, and you are listening to the biggest show in the world, the SBTV Nation. It's going to be a quick show. This is just your boy by himself. The Dream had some other prior obligations, but he will be back on Thursday, so you're blessed with me dolo. But it's all good. I'm sure you're pretty happy with me after yesterday. We rocked and rolled on the NFL. What an awesome weekend to gamble on football. We did excellent, and I'm very excited and elated to announce that Miami Dolphins did win in memory of my late, great father. So thank you very much to the organization, and thank you very much to the Jets. Stinking so bad. I really appreciate that. So good morning to everybody. We are live on Twitter right now, SBTV Nation, having a ball, ready to rock. The chaos of Monday is here, but you know what? I take a break, come down to the office, and do the show for the SBTV Nation. And I'm looking forward to hearing your comments on your day. How'd you guys do gambling yesterday? Hope everybody cashed some tickets. So let's discuss real quick. Let's have a conversation about what went down in the NFL yesterday. And we will start with the Steelers versus the Ravens. Told the Dream that this game was ugly. We know how Pittsburgh is on the road. I believe my man Jonesy told me that the Steelers with Big Ben off an injury were like 2-5. And sure enough, they go down in flames to the Baltimore Ravens. And both teams are 4-4 right now, basically 500. And the Ravens obviously would have the tiebreaker in that. Big Ben did not perform all that bad, 264 yards overall. But if you guys saw the onside kick attempt for Pittsburgh, it was what was he doing? I have no clue what that was all about. But that was definitely like one of the blooper reels. So that is something that people will be laughing about for a very, very long time. So Ravens are 2-2 at home. Steelers on the road. You already know what they do, and you can't really bet this team on the road. They're 1-3 overall. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. Another game here that wasn't a surprise to anybody, and the Dream was all over this one, so big ups to him, was the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott beating the snot out of the Cleveland Browns, who are 0-9. In this organization, I just don't know. It's almost like the 76ers of the NBA. So, you know what? Hey, they got to win some games here, man. Got to at least win a couple moving down the stretch. I mean, you're in the second half of the year, and you haven't even won a game yet. So, I know a lot of quarterbacks have been starting over there. But obviously with the RG3 injury, that really probably decimated their offense. And Dak Prescott had 3 TDs, 247 yards. And you know what? I think Tony Romo can make himself useful by getting Dak some water during the timeouts. Looking at the rest of it here, we were on the Kansas City Chiefs as they get the job done over the Jags. And you know what? Almost gave me a stomach ache towards the end of that game. But they end up getting it done. Travis Kelce is definitely the GOAT for throwing the towel at the ref. He got a couple of personal fouls with that. Blake Bortles did his thing versus that Kansas City defense, but Kansas City did just enough to get the job done in a stomachache game, and they win by 5 points, 19-14. Moving on to the Miami Dolphins. Thank you very much for winning yesterday. I appreciate it. If anybody from that organization is listening right now, thank God the Jets stink, because Miami did everything they could to let the Jets have that game, and sure enough, they ended up coming out victorious with a 27-23 victory. Dream and I were also on the New York Giants, who are 5-3. They did beat the Eagles. Guys, I like this Eagles team when they're home. And I'm not a big fan of their offense. Obviously, their defense is one of the best, one of the most talented. But the New York Giants got up pretty damn early. They were up 14-3 in the first quarter, and continued their winning ways and get it done. So they're 5-3 and they're 3-1 at home. And Carson Wentz, believe it or not, on that Giant defense, 364 yards through the air. But he did have 2 picks, and obviously that did not work out too well for them overall. Moving on to the next one here, a surprise to me, but the Dream called it. He said that the Detroit Lions were going to beat the Minnesota Vikings, and sure enough, they did in overtime. Golden Tate with that spectacular touchdown at the end. And the Vikings are now 5-3. They have lost 3 consecutive games after going 5-0. Still in the driver's seat for that division, though, because the Packers are so bad. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. The Carolina Panthers coming back. I still believe in this team, guys. I still think this team can make noise in the NFC playoffs. I really do. You might think I'm crazy, but I think it's going to come to form here because I'm just not a big fan of the rest of the division. And sure enough, they win and they beat the Rams, who are now 3-5 overall, 1-3 at home, and the Panthers get their first road win. Case Keenum was the it factor in this as far as the quarterback play, 296 yards overall. The Saints beat the 49ers. 49ers are now 1-7, guys. Oof. Chip Kelly era. What's going to go on with that? I think he needs a little time to build that up. I think you got to give him at least another year personally. But, looking at that and looking at what happened, I mean, it almost seemed like the Niners were going to come back. They did pull it out. They were within 8 points at one point in this game. And Cap, I can't stand him. But Kaepernick did have almost 400 yards, 398 to be exact. Mark Ingram on the ground was absolutely outstanding for the New Orleans Saints. And anybody that had him on their fantasy football team, you did pretty damn good. The Chargers, these overs keep coming to form. 43-35 over the Tennessee Titans. And Mariota had a pretty good game, but there was just no defense to be found on that football field yesterday as the score, it looked like a college score pretty much, 78 points overall. So whoever had the overs, I know the Dream was plugging it big time, so congratulations to him. Dude, it was a stellar day yesterday. The Indianapolis Colts, I did do a small play on the Packers just to kind of mess around a little bit because it was on TV and all that. And sure enough, I went down in flames with that, but ended up murdering it overall on the day. The Colts go into the Tundra and beat Green Bay. Now Green Bay is 4-4. You know what? Aaron Rodgers, he can't do it all on his own. I mean, he's been one of the leading rushers of the team. They have no running game. They're not getting the production out of their receiving core. Their defense is not all that, giving up 31 points to the Colts in the Tundra. Oh, man, it's going. And I every time I turned it on, it just seemed like Frank Gore was running wild. Even though he had 60 yards, he was still doing his thing. So, I don't know. I think the Packers are in trouble. I know Aaron Rodgers can say relax all he wants, but I think this is going to be a little bit of an issue moving forward. They are 1 game back from the Vikings, but since the Vikings did beat them head-to-head, they're actually 2 games back. But I still think Green Bay can possibly win this division. They're just going to have to play better. And from what I understand, they have 3 road games coming up in a row. So it's going to be tough. Hopefully they can emerge because I actually have them to win that division. So I got my fingers crossed as far as they're concerned. Moving on to the rest of it here, let's talk about the Oakland Raiders. Guys, this Raiders team is 7-2 right now. And they knock off the Broncos. I've been saying it all along that I'm not a believer in the Broncos. I really am not. Unless they're playing home and they've got an inferior opponent, I just can't see anything here. I mean, Trevor Siemian, just not a big fan of him. I'm not. And they couldn't even get anything going. I mean, if you watch the game, it was like 4 straight 3-and-outs. They just couldn't get anything going offensively. And the Raiders, Raiders are in the driver's seat right now. I still think Kansas City gets that division and is victorious there. But the Raiders, this might be your wild card team or division winner. I mean, what do I know? Maybe I'll be wrong. But the Raiders are good. And they get the job done and win this game 30-20. And that score is nowhere near commensurate on the way the game really was played because the Raiders dominated the Broncos, guys. Big time. So that's pretty much it as far as the recap of the NFL yesterday. Definitely a great day for us. And I'm looking to continue that going into tonight's action. So we're going to move on. And we are going to talk about right now the new AP College 25 Top 25 poll. Bunch of teams went down, bunch of teams moved up, and we need to have that conversation moving forward, guys. So Alabama, the Crimson Tide, after going into LSU and winning by 10 points and shutting out LSU, it was pretty impressive for the defense, I got to admit. The offense did not look as impressive, but they turned the ball over several times in that game. And LSU had a real short field, and just the defense of Alabama is just overwhelming. And ended up getting the job done, and they were victorious. So Alabama holds true at number 1. Number 2, Harbizzle and the Michigan Wolverines. Guys, this was my team that I picked to win the national championship. And you know what? The way they're doing it right now, and the offense seems to be clicking. I know that they played a real crappy team in Maryland. The Terps just basically did not show up. But I think Michigan could be a force to be reckoned with moving down the stretch. I really do. And I think that even if they go into if they go into Columbus and play the Ohio State University and they play a tight game, and maybe if they lose by 3 points or under a touchdown or something like that, they still have to be in the conversation as far as a playoff team. They're number 2 right now in the land. Number 3, the Clemson Tigers, who beat the brakes off of Syracuse. I believe they shut them out. Looked pretty good, but it is Syracuse and they were home, so it is what it is. Number 4, Washington, doing their thing versus Cal this week. Marshawn Lynch driving a golf cart all over the place, but Washington gets it done. Washington should definitely be the number 4 team now, especially with the playoff committee. I don't even want to hear any other teams besides Washington, to be honest with you, because it just doesn't make sense. They're saying that their strength of schedule is not all that. Well, I got news for you. Washington, in order to win out and get into the playoffs and win the pack, they're going to have to go into Washington State and win. And Washington State's a pretty damn good team. Interdivision matchup, interdivision matchup, in-state rivalry. It's going to be a great game moving forward. Number 5, you got the Louisville Cardinal, who were victorious and won huge this week. They are number 5. Number 6, the Ohio State University. So basically, the top 6 in the AP poll stayed put. Number 7, you got Wisconsin. The Badgers were victorious this weekend over Northwestern, I believe, and they are 7-2. Their only 2 losses being the Ohio State University and Michigan, so pretty good resume there. Auburn is number 8, and Auburn is basically in the conversation right now as far as a potential playoff team. I don't see it. I can't even imagine the fact that they would beat Alabama in the Iron Bowl. But if they do, and they win the SEC, guess who's going to be sitting there? It's this very team, the Auburn Tigers. Very, very much a long shot. Not sure what their odds are right now to win the whole thing, but you know what? Maybe you sprinkle a few bucks on them. Why not, right? Number 9 is Oklahoma. After the 2 losses, they've been rattling off wins left and right here and scoring a lot of points, so they're getting it done. Number 10 is Texas A&M, who was 7 in the last AP poll, but was number 4 as far as the playoff committee, which I thought was absolutely ludicrous, to be honest with you. They're number 10. Number 11, West Virginia, moving up from 14. Number 12 is Penn State. I did well with Penn State this week, boy. It was good. It was a laugher, and this team is not bad. 7-2. You might see them in a New Year's Six Bowl. Number 13 is Utah. Number 14, Western Michigan, up from 17, and this is my squad. And I believe this team is going to play a New Year's Six Bowl with some other really good teams, guys. Number 15, North Carolina. I was victorious with them as well. It just seems like everything I touched pretty much turned to gold this week. Number 16 is Colorado. Number 17, Oklahoma State. Number 18, Virginia Tech. Number 19, LSU, after losing to Alabama. That's really not that bad of a loss, so they only dropped 4 spots. Number 20, Florida State. 21, after getting murdered, Nebraska. Number 22, Florida. Number 23, Washington State, after their very, very impressive win this weekend. Number 24, you got Boise State. And number 25, after getting murdered, I'm surprised they're still even in the conversation, is Baylor. And Baylor should definitely be out of there. And you got a couple of teams receiving votes, and I think USC should obviously bump Baylor out of the equation, to be honest with you. But that pretty much does it for the top 25 AP poll, guys. And we are going to move on right now and have a conversation about the game that we got going on tonight. We got Monday Night Football. And let's talk about it, because your boy has a nice parlay that I'm waiting to close out. And when you look at this game tonight, you've got the Buffalo Bills coming into the Seattle Seahawks. And the Seattle Seahawks are only -7. I could have sworn this should be like maybe an 8 or 9 point spread, to be honest with you. But I understand why it's only 7. Reason being is because the Seattle Seahawks, their offensive line stinks. Offensively, they stink. They're only scoring 18.7 points per game, but they're only allowing 15.6. And when you look at it here, and you've got them on primetime tonight playing in Seattle for the 12th man, there's just nothing in the world that can make me take the Buffalo Bills. I can't do it, guys. I have a money line situation going on as far as a parlay is concerned. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Seattle Seahawks in that to close it out. And I'm going to tell you why. Seattle at home, 6-1 straight up in the last 7 games at home. You guys know how good they are there. A couple of other things here. Seattle, they really got to keep going here. I mean, because, 4-2-1 right now, they're road woes. And they got to keep winning in order to get that number 1 seed in the NFC. I think this team's going to come out like gangbusters. I think they'll do enough defensively to shut down the Bills. I think it'll be an ugly game to start, but I think Seattle pulls away. I like Seattle to not only win the game outright, but I actually like them to cover the 7 points. If you're going to do the spread, you probably might want to consider buying a half point, getting it down to 6.5. I could see Seattle winning by 10 or more, maybe like a 23-10 or 24-13 or something like that. I see a low-scoring affair as well. 43.5, I'm not getting involved in the total, but when I look at it, Seattle will get it done, boys and girls. That's where I'm looking at it, and that's what I'm taking. And when you look at the Buffalo Bills, I mean, when you look at them statistically here, they are number 25 offensively in the land. They're only averaging 333 yards offensively, period. And when you look at Seattle, I mean, Seattle's not much better, 339. But you compare the defenses, obviously, it's 2 totally different teams. As Seattle's number 6 in the land, only giving up 319 yards per game defensively, where Buffalo is 360. Give me home field advantage on primetime. Give me the Seattle Seahawks, with or without a banged-up and awful offensive line. I still got to go with it. I am taking the Seattle Seahawks to get the job done. Feel free to hit me up, guys, anywhere you want as far as Twitter's concerned, as far as social media. You can hit me up with an email, sbtvnation@gmail.com. Feel free to let us know your thoughts. We got a lot of big things going on, guys. And this Thursday, we are very excited to announce that we got Tay Stevens calling in. She is definitely something that you guys want to hear from, and definitely something that you want to look at. She is absolutely amazing, and she will be on, and she'll be talking a little sports with us on Thursday, so we'll be having a good time, and that's pretty much going to do it for us on the show. Guys, we love you to death. We are the SBTV Nation, and Marlon, yup, the Dallas Cowboys, 7-1. And they did look pretty good yesterday. I know Cleveland stinks, but they look good. And it is what it is, man. So we're going to get up out of here. I know that you got college basketball starting this week. I know that you got the NBA popping. I know that you got a bunch of different things happening. The NHL is going crazy. And I have not really had a chance. I've been watching a little bit of NBA. Obviously, I've been watching Cleveland and watching the Bulls and watching a little bit of the Spurs and obviously Golden State, who lost to the Lake Show the other day, believe it or not. But I will be getting into it more. And you know what? Once football is over, guys, that's where I really dive into it. That's where I really get deep into the NBA and obviously college basketball, because we got a ton of stuff going on and a lot to talk about moving forward. And that is pretty much going to do it for us. I told you it's going to be a quick show today. It's just me. I got a lot of work to do, but I'm looking forward to getting back on here with the Dream momentarily. And we'll be back on Thursday having a conversation with you guys. So, hey, it's Monday, all right? Go out there. It's a brand new week. Let's just tell you something. Go out there and conquer the world. Whatever you wanted to do in life, let me tell you something. Life is short. If there's something that you want to do, don't have any regrets at all. Go for it. Give it a shot. The worst you can do is fail. It's better. You're better off failing than not trying at all and having regrets all your life. So give it a shot, guys. I know you got family to provide for and all that, but you know what? Regardless of what it is, you only live once. And there's a lot of things that my father wanted to do in his life and didn't ever get a chance to do. So you know what? I will make sure that I do those things for him. Guys, we love you to death. We'll be back on Thursday. Whatever it is, do whatever it is you got to do whatever it is you want to do. And get that money. Have a great day and a great week.